start one of the things you do. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you.
Oh,
You ready?
well, among the things that I do with the artists that the gallery represents, in order for me to help them shape their technique and strategy as artists, I take them to my studio and I make them my art assistants.
What, so you make them take their clothes off?
My studio assistants. No, they work with me. They work with me. I pay them, I make them some money, I pay them, and I make it my studio assistants.
So here in Stamford, you have some of your art hanging up, and it's a Wall Street commentary.
Okay, here we have Wall Street today. This was done in September of 2008. That's when I started doing it. And basically, what I was depicting here is what was happening then, the beginning of the end of Wall Street, and what it will become eventually with Wall Street today, which is over there. But here we have Wall. You can see still somewhat bullish. The exuberant lips turning into a champagne bottle, and the pink champagne, which reflects the money and
She's still
wealth.
happy.
Yes, and they're still happy.
Yeah.
People still happy. But guess what? It was the beginning of the beginning of the end, because of all the financial chaos that we had following that time. You can see here, I picked this piece from the New York Times. It's goodbye to all that. And coincidentally, I had a bottle of champagne as well.
Oh.
And really goodbye to all that. So it's like opening up a new chapter. And here, which is the influence of Frank Stella in my work, is the chaos. This is what I consider the chaos. And that was the chaos in Wall Street going on. That was in 2008 when everything was really, we were in trouble, but the only people who knew really how much trouble we had were like big CEOs.
And you were on Wall Street. I mean, you were a financial guy.
Well, I was there in Wall Street, but I was a financial guy, and I follow the markets to date. I short stock, and I just love doing that stuff. I have an understanding of where certain companies are going at times, and a lot of the times I'm correct, So then we move on to this piece right here, today, to street. So that's Wall. See, it's facing up. Street. And that was the period that was very dull, as this painting. If you recall correctly, there was a point after around October, November of 2008, nobody knew what was going on. That was just what we believed. So I found this piece, a Fidelity ad, that said what we believe. And that's basically what it was. We were very, in a piece of the Wall Street Journal, and if you read closely, I put notes on there based on the article, which I read.
I love his upside down strategy.
Right.
Hello, does that remind you of something? Huh?
Right, there you go, exactly, there you go. Upside down. And it was like very dull, which is why there's not even a light here. We only have a light on that one and on this one. Because it's very dull, and that was really what was happening in Wall Street at that time. Nobody knew what was going on. And then finally, today. So Wall Street today. Okay, replayed, basically a financial mess, like this guy from Long-Term Capital Cost, which was among the hedge funds that we bailed out in '99, I believe. Okay, that's John Merriweather right there. So I said replayed, basically, but at a larger scale. That was $3 billion, and only like few banks bailed them out. They were in Greenwich. That was back in '99. Today, it had to be bailed out by the United States government because of everything that was happening. So that is today. Same thing, but more compact. It's smaller, but compact, more subtle. Okay, and then I predicted the CEOs that would no longer be there, like Richard Prince. He was the CEO of Citibank, the guy who brought that company to its knees. The AIJ CEO as well, also no longer there, and several other ones here. And then I predicted the ones that would be like Robinhood. Look, you can see the date here, 10/08. Okay, and this is what I consider the Robinhood redux, throwback, and that is Jamie Dimon. He was ousted out of Citibank by Samuel Well.
And it's the Sunday Styles.
Yeah, Sunday Styles right there. But then again, if you look back, okay, you also see other CEOs that I thought, the ones that I thought would be ousted out are upside down, and the ones that would still be here are facing up normally, like Blankfein from Goldman Sachs, like John Mack from Morgan Stanley, and Jamie Dimon from Chase.
It looks, I don't know, you weren't sure about him. He's up and down.
Yes, you're right. I wasn't sure about him.
You can tell.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure. This is the Merrill Lynch guy.
You You
Okay.
knew he was down.
Yeah, he was down. And here we have Sammy Well. I wasn't sure about
Still,
it.
you're not sure.
Right,
He's
and recently there was an
almost
article.
half up.
There's an article on him how, like, the board of Citibank basically kicked him out. And he's the guy who really made Citibank into the very entrepreneur-oriented. It grew dramatically into all this, into a conglomerate of financial services. He's the guy, but he's getting a lot of criticism right now because of the way he put the company together, you know. And they're saying that that financial giant really is now in his knee.
It almost looks like the governor. Right? Doesn't it?
So he's basically history right here. And then if you look back, I was also very upset at what was happening in Wall Street because as much as I love greed, I think greed is a good thing if it's good greed. You know, but I think it got out of hand.
Well, isn't all art history? All art is history. I mean, you look at like the 1919 art history in like fair in Chicago. I mean, every single piece of art that was denied or that was like embargoed or like you couldn't have. I mean, it's all history.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that's the absolute only reason some people like it.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Well said. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Right.